Hi, everybody. I'm Sabrina, and you're watching Saffron City TV. Hi, everybody. Today we are doing my top 10 favorite Pokemon of all time. Woo! Yay! So, as of right now, we are at Generation 9 of Pokemon. We have 9 generations, so bear that in mind if you are watching this in the future. So today, we are going to go over my top 10 favorite Pokemon. And this list is going to be based on the looks of a Pokemon, my experience with a Pokemon. It won't necessarily be based on stats or competitive viability, but it might play a small part. It's just not going to be the major focus of what made my top 10. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Tie between Gardevoir and Umbreon. I couldn't just pick one. They both made the number 10 spot. Let's talk about Gardevoir first. I have used Gardevoir quite a few times on my playthroughs. I have a lot of nostalgia playing with this honorable and loyal teammate. Honestly, if it weren't for how much I've used it before, it might have lost the number 10 spot to Umbreon entirely. Ralts used to be one of my favorite Pokemon when I was a kid because it was cute, it was psychic, and it was rare, having only a 5% encounter rate on Route 102. I saw Wally catch one and I was like, I gotta have me one of them. When it eventually evolved into a Gardevoir, I loved it even more. I still get excited when I see Ralts in a game nowadays. It's hard for me to not use this Pokemon at every given opportunity. Besides that, Gardevoir is just a nice looking Pokemon. It looks regal and elegant, and it has a very pleasing color scheme. It makes me kind of sad that I can't Google images of Gardevoir without being optically assaulted, but it is what it is. I do think she deserves a little more respect though, considering how well she balances power and grace. And don't even get me started on Mega Gardevoir. She is the queen to rule all queens. A queen supreme, if you will. Mega Gardevoir is definitely in the top 3 of my favorite Mega designs. If y'all want me to do a video ranking all of the Mega Pokemon, then leave me a comment down below. If enough of y'all are interested in that, you can bet I'll make a video about it. Anyway, Gardevoir's beauty can stand on its own even without its Mega evolution, but the queen deserved a mention. All in all, Gardevoir's spot on this list was a close call, and she almost didn't make it. But I felt guilty not to include her, considering that she's been such a loyal teammate on so many of my playthroughs. And that's why this elegant beauty deserves the number 10 spot on my list. Umbreon may have tied with Gardevoir, but top 11 favorite Pokemon just doesn't sound right. I simply couldn't choose between the two. I used Gardevoir in my playthroughs more than I've used Umbreon, but that doesn't make Umbreon any less important to me. And you'll see that trend as we move up this list. My relationship with Umbreon just hits a little different. If you've seen my origin story video, then you know that I spent a lot of my childhood playing Pokemon Coliseum. If you haven't seen my origin story video, check the cards up top, and it'll also be in the description below if you'd like to check it out. In Pokemon Coliseum, your starters are Umbreon and Espeon, and battles in this game are exclusively double battles. This means that Umbreon was used in battle more often than not. I've also used it in other games outside of Coliseum, and it's never failed me, not once. And its design is just perfecto. This nocturnal fox has an aesthetic that would put everybody at the Met Gala to shame. I would consider this Pokemon to be a loyal friend with an amazing design and the ability to take hits. And that's why Umbreon deserves to share the spot at number 10 with Gardevoir on my list. Chandelure! Chandelure is my favorite Pokemon from Gen 5. This sinister, ghostly Chandelure with its ombre, blue and purple flames has a design that is both chilling and incredibly pleasing to the eye. I have only used Chandelure once, in my competitive X and Y team. I tried to use one in one of my replays of Pokemon Moon, but since that game takes so long to get through, I didn't even get to the point to where I would evolve Litwick. But I think Chandelure is such an awesome Pokemon, and I want to use it more. I can't say that I'm a big fan of Pokemon that are based on inanimate objects that shouldn't be Pokemon, but Chandelure is the exception to the rule, and a big one at that. The spooky gothic aesthetic, the appealing color scheme, its ominous dex entry, its amazing shiny, and the fact that this Pokemon was so much fun to play with competitively in X and Y puts Chandelure in its well-deserved spot at number 9 on my list. Toxipex. Toxipex is such an awesome Pokemon. I may have decided to stop playing Pokemon competitively back in X and Y, but I still raised competitive teams to take on the battle tree in Pokemon Sun and Moon. Toxipex was the star of the team. She never died. She was a defensive tank who spit poison and scalding water and could not be stopped. She took on much of the battle tree all by herself as my lead member. Since then, I have used Toxipex at every opportunity. I can't say no to the Pokemon who made me love defensive strategies. Not only that, but Toxipex just looks fierce. It also has a gorgeous shiny. I will forever search this Pokemon out to use on my playthrough teams. Toxipex is well deserving of its number 8 spot on my list. Milotic. I have loved Milotic since I was a wee lass. Take a look at this Pokemon. It is the definition of beauty. I remember spending hours upon hours hunting for Feebas in Pokemon Sapphire as a kid. All just to find out that I couldn't evolve it unless I maxed out its beauty stat. That was a thing back in the days when contests were a thing. It's a fitting means of evolution, isn't it? This was before the days where you could just trade a Feebas while holding a prism scale and get back an awesome Milotic. Feebas needed tender love and care to feel confident enough to evolve into one of the most beautiful Pokemon to have ever been created. So I spent days farming berries to make into Pokeblocks to feed to my ugly little fish so it would eventually evolve into the most elegant Pokemon ever. Milotic even has like this bewitching cry that sounds like, well, it sounds like what a mermaid would sound like, I think. Don't even get me started on its shiny form. Exquisite! I haven't used Milotic since I was a kid, but I would really like to use one again. I remember this Pokemon being a powerful and loyal teammate. That's why gorgeous Milotic deserves its place at number 7 on my list. Rayquaza. Rayquaza, tomato, it doesn't matter. Now this Pokemon is the peak of Pokemon design perfection. I haven't even really used one on a team before. I just think it looks formidable and awe-inspiring. Need I say more? Yes, shiny form. Primal form. Shiny primal form. I don't need to go into detail on this one. Y'all know exactly why Rayquaza is on my top 10 list. The only reason that it is at number 6 and not higher on my list is because it has tough competition. The other Pokemon I've used a little more, but it wouldn't be my top 10 list without a Rayquaza on it, and that's why it deserves the number 6 spot. Metagross! Once again, Metagross, I don't care how you say it. This Pokemon is not an easy one to get, especially not in the games that I played as a kid, like Sapphire. You could not get Metagross's pre-evolution Beldum until you beat the game and Steven Stone gave you one. Once I finally got one, I immediately traded it over to Pokemon Coliseum to level it up. Cause yeah, Beldum takes so long to level up. But once it evolved into Metagross, we tore up the town together. Metagross crushed everything in its path, and its Steel and Psychic type was so appealing to me. I mean, just look at it. It looks like it eats Toyotas for lunch. And it has one of the best shiny designs of Gen 3. This Pokemon is literally a monster, in a good way. Can I have one in real life? This Pokemon is so awesome, and I can't wait to use it on another playthrough of mine, and that is why Metagross deserves the number 5 spot on my list. Hatterene! Hatterene is such a lovely Pokemon. Her entire evolutionary line reminds me of like the designs you would see back in the good old days. Her feminine design with her beautiful ombre white, pink, and blue just makes her look so pretty. I just love it. And her Gigantamax form is even cooler. Her psychic and fairy typing, her bulky and powerful stats, and her magic bounce ability make her a formidable opponent. Her dex entries make her sound even more fearsome, for if you're ever too loud around her, she'll literally tear you apart with the claw at the end of her hat. She is beauty. She is grace. She will stab you in the face. I used Hatterene on one of my playthroughs of Pokemon Shield, and I also created a Trick Room team based around her, and she dominated the battle tower. Hatterene is one of the reasons that I don't really believe that Game Freak has run out of ideas when it comes to designing Pokemon. She deserves the number 4 spot because I absolutely adore her design, and I had so much fun playing with her on my Shield playthrough. Gengar. This entry requires little explanation. Gengar is a favorite of many, and it's easy to see why. It's the first fully evolved ghost Pokemon ever to be created. I have used a Gengar on so many teams, in so many playthroughs, and I have had so much success with it. It's just really freaking cool, okay? It's got this sinister design, and it packs a powerful and speedy punch. What's not to love about Gengar? It even has a stellar Mega Evolution in Gigantamax form. This Pokemon never ceases to impress, and I absolutely love it. I've loved Gengar since I was a child, and my feelings for it haven't changed. Gengar will always be high on my top 10 list, regardless of how many new Pokemon come out afterwards. Gengar is like an old friend who is reliable, trustworthy, and is always there for you when you need to scare the crap out of people. That's why Gengar deserves the number 3 spot on my list. Espeon! Once again, Espeon has been one of my favorite Pokemon since I was a child. Fun fact about me, I'm a cat person. And I understand that all of the evolutions are supposed to be based on like this fox-cat mix. But I personally think Espeon looks like a cat. The most beautifulest psychic cat I ever did see. I want one in real life. I have always loved Espeon. Espeon is the sun Pokemon, and I too am a lover of sunshine. I have used it in many playthroughs, and it has been a staple of my childhood Pokemon experience. Eevee doesn't even evolve into Espeon without lots of love, camaraderie, trust, and friendship. But Espeon will always be worth the effort to me. My Pokemon experience wouldn't be what it is today if Espeon hadn't been by my side for all of those years, being a loyal companion and teammate. That's why Espeon deserves to be at the number 2 spot on my list. Jirachi! I love Jirachi! Jirachi is the cutest Pokemon to have ever been created, and you can't change my mind on that. It looks like a little star with little teal, my favorite color, wish tags on its head. And its shiny looks super cute as well. It has the ability to grant wishes when it's awoken every 1,000 years, and you can only wake it up by singing it a little song. You can't get any cuter than that! And Jirachi isn't just cute. It's got a third eye on its tummy to protect it while it sleeps. And it has the stats to back up its power. It also has Serene Grace, which is a fantastic ability. Jirachi's signature move is Doom Desire, a Steel-type move which takes 2 turns to hit, but deals a devastating 140 power blow. And it's 100% accurate, as of Gen 6. I want one so bad. I have only been able to use this Pokemon in ROM hacks, and I just want to use one on an actual cartridge. But I love its design, I love its typing, its signature move, and its dex entries so much that it has to be my number 1 top pick. When I look at Jirachi, I just feel pure joy and happiness. I'm even working on collecting all of the Jirachi TCG cards. Though I will say, Espeon was really close to taking this spot, but Jirachi is just my favorite Pokemon of all time, what can I say? Jirachi is number 1 on my list, and I will always adore this Pokemon. Believe it or not, this list was a lot harder to make than I thought it would be. There are over 1,000 Pokemon now, and it is really hard to just choose 10 favorites. Now, let's do some honorable mentions. Here are some honorable mentions, in no particular order, that were really close to making this list, and made this project a lot harder than I thought it would be. Number 1, Ampharos. I have used this Pokemon repeatedly on playthroughs, and it's one of the best companions to have, especially if you're playing a Johto game. Number 2, Blaziken. Blaziken is the first fully evolved starter I ever had. It was very close to making this list, but just barely got beat out. I have so many fond memories of using Blaziken, and it will always have a special place in my heart. Number 3, Hisuian Zoroa and Zoroark. Try saying that 3 times fast. What can I say? These Pokemon just look awesome. They have such an interesting typing and dex entry that they're already really memorable to me, even though they're fairly new Pokemon. I like them a lot. Number 4, Noivern. Noivern has one of the best Pokemon designs from Gen 6. I just love this bat with its speaker ears. This flying masterpiece was really close to being on my list. Number 5, Togekiss. I have used Togekiss on many occasions. Its para-flinching Serene Grace capabilities made battles just that much easier, and I've always had a great time using it on my teams. Plus it has a really nice design and looks like a comfy pillow. Number 6, Dreepy, Dracloak, and Dragapult. This entire line gets a mention because this entire line is super freaking cool. I love the typing, I love the designs, I love the shinies, and I loved using them on my team in Pokemon Violet. Number 7, Cerulege. This one doesn't require a lot of explanation as to why it's on my honorable mentions list. It looks threatening and also regal. Cerulege dominated my Pokemon Violet playthrough. And the only reason it didn't make the top 10 is because I had more of a rapport with the chosen ones. Number 8, Chi-Yu. I just absolutely love its design as a goldfish. I mean, it's adorable and also powerful. I use this one a lot in Terra Raid battles in Pokemon Violet. I just love it. Number 9, Lilligant. Lilligant is such an underrated Pokemon, and it's often forgotten about. I never forgot about Lilligant though. Its little princess design has always been one of my favorites, even though I've only used it once on a Pokemon White 2 playthrough. It also has a really nice shiny. And the final honorable mention, number 10, Deoxys. It's just an incredible Pokemon. Its dex entries are really interesting, and its design is so cool. I like all of its forms. And it's extremely powerful. I think Deoxys speaks for itself as to why it's on my honorable mentions list. And that's it! That's my top 10 favorite Pokemon of all time, and you got a little bonus extra honorable mentions in there too. What did you think of my list? Please bear in mind, these are just my opinions. I would love to know, what are your top 10 favorite Pokemon? Leave your list in the comments below. I love reading y'all's comments. Anyway, if you liked the video, make sure to click the like button. It helps me out a ton, and it lets YouTube know, hey, these are the kind of videos that people want to see. And while you're there, you may as well subscribe because it's free. It's absolutely free. Costs you one click. And it helps me out a lot. It helps my channel grow. It helps my channel get seen. And it also helps you to not scroll forever. Now you have something to watch. I hope y'all enjoyed this one. So stay tuned for the next one. Bye!